Hey guys, working on DV's Ecoboost project. 4-valve stuff. Wow, what a pain. Be sure to plug up your fuel injector port. I had to make up a plate to fit on my bore adapter. The plate is actually a little small for the bore. I put a radius on it. I have a feeling our flow numbers are still going to be pretty close to where they have to be. This is our bone stock setup. And what I wound up doing is putting, my tiny springs and then lifting it with the stock cams. Now, the stock cams only lift 0.327 on the intake and 0.293 on the exhaust. Very, very small. Okay. It's 4-valve stuff. It probably doesn't have to lift that high. You'll notice I have clamps all over the place. Well, we got the leakage down to a fairly decent level. You could take 3 or 4 off of the numbers we have, which is probably about right. Anytime I see clamps on a flow bench, I'm leery. This is no exception. You have to also realize I'm opening into my larger bore adapter, so it's restricted right underneath. You can see where it is, and then it goes into the larger bore. We're still trying to get it so I can get my swirl meter is under there, trying to see if it's got any swirl at all. And then I did a couple things where I wanted to see if I took both buckets and pushed them down as far as I could, if it would increase the flow at all. And there's quite a bit of difference between what the cam will give as far as lift and how much you can push the buckets down. Absolutely no difference, no change in flow whatsoever. That's interesting to me. Now, you'll look at the flow sheet and you'll say, Charlie, what a mess. Well, I don't know if you guys can see in there. Let me get a little extra light on that. If you guys can see where the buckets are, trying to get a dial indicator on the buckets and then spin the cam is practically an impossibility, to be honest. I was thinking of making something to compress both of them at the same time without the cam. That would be more accurate, but it's not going to be necessary for our first look at it. Okay, these are fairly accurate, and then I was having problems keeping the dial indicator in the spot. Now, this is as much as it would flow on the cams. 158.2. Push them all the way down, you get 160. Basically, no difference. Okay, same thing on the exhaust. I did the same thing on the exhaust. Really didn't change anything. As far as our max flow numbers, if you look it up on the internet, they're pretty close to what other guys have gotten. So I'm fairly happy with our baseline. That's our baseline. Those are our, took some carbon out of the stock ports and flowed them. So that's our baseline. We're going to be moving on up from there. Pretty confident we can get some decent numbers out of these, as long as we don't go through the casting. The casting is thin in a few spots. I mean, you really got to be careful because there's a few spots literally you don't even want to touch with the burr. Like 85,000 stock. Crazy. But that's what it is. Let me pop this off the bench. You guys can take a quick look at it. Okay, you're going to look at this and say, what did you do, Charlie? Well, this has got a nice radius that opens up to the same size as our bore. Is it going to affect our flow numbers? Probably a little bit. But it's probably not as bad as you would think. Let's see if I can move these cams and show you something. Yeah, we'll move the exhaust. Okay. Okay, they do come fairly close. As far as being centered and everything, it's fairly good. It's kind of difficult because I had to take this and drill it and then bolt it through. Not the easiest job in the world. Don't send me any 4-valve stuff. It's a nightmare. And everything is so tiny. It's like smaller than a lawnmower, some of these parts. And I'm getting too old for that. You'll notice I engraved all the valves. They're not the right ones, and I don't really care. That's only for if we wind up using the stock stuff, which I pray we don't, because they do have some wear on them. This was a used head. It has not been rebuilt. You can see it probably ate a turbo at some point. And at least I don't have to worry about all the seats being sunk already by being ground too much. DV wants to do a different valve job on both intake valves and then a special valve job for the exhaust valves to increase blowdown. I don't know if I'm going to talk about that, but it's going to be interesting. As far as our swirl was, let's take a look at that. The best we did on swirl was 32, and that was almost at max lift. So it really doesn't have, when you just crack the valves, you got 36. That's it. That's the best you got. You have the tiniest amount of swirl. Okay, you can see the other ports I already started working on. Some of the things that I don't like about it is they could have made this so much better. If they actually used inserts that came in more, this could have worked out a lot better. Instead, the insert is 90 degrees straight down, and I can't show you on the intake because I have to take the whole head apart. Let's see if I can keep you guys on pause for a little bit. Okay, I did it, guys. That's what it looks like stock. Pretty ugly. Huge lip around the entire intake. Like I was saying, it's got... Okay, can't find my pointer, but we'll have to do what we can do. Okay, you can see it right here. This is dead straight, and then comes to a lip into the bowl. It's relatively radius at this point, but this one, well, the way they did it is they put an edge here for it to smooth, flow smoothly into the bowl. But take a look at the short side. You can actually see it better with the one with no light. Okay, the short side is designed with a ramp to limit the amount of flow on the short side. What they're trying to do is they're trying to promote tumble. Okay, so they want this part of the valve to be flowing more than this part of the valve. We're looking for efficiency, and we're going to get our swirl by having one side flow more than the other side. So it's going to be a little bit different. It should make good power. We'll go from the stalker, I'm having trouble getting a focus on this, to ones that I've already worked on. I'm pretty sure they'll work a lot better. Right in this area, got to be real careful. Okay, that's one of the really thin spots. Kind of clean it and forget it. All right, guys. A little look at it. You know what? Let me pop the exhausts out, and you can take a look at the stock exhaust ports, which really aren't that bad, versus our slightly modified exhaust ports. Okay, the exhausts are actually in better shape than the intakes by far. They're really not a bad shape. Okay, they do have, I believe, a rounded divider, which we talked about in a previous video. But, this one here, which is what we tested out of today, goes to the exhaust manifold, and then it goes all the way over and out. And I did do a little porting on that by accident, because I was in the zone, and I forgot that I needed to not touched. So, is the exhaust flow a touch more? Yeah, maybe a few CFM. Not going to be that big a deal. Do I think the exhausts are going to pick up a huge amount? Going from this to something like this, I would think they would pick up a decent amount. Remember, I'm going to change the valve job. It's going to have a radius into the new exhaust angle. It'll pick up a decent amount. What DV wants is he wants it to blow off as soon as that valve cracks, he wants to blow it off. And a couple of the things I learned about this engine is it's a dual scroll, which is why it has this crazy exhaust flange. Okay, I don't remember exactly how it goes. I think these two ports go to one scroll, this one goes to another scroll, which makes sense. It's still 2 cylinders and 2 cylinders. These are going to flow much better. There's no question in my mind. Okay, I think we got everything we needed to talk about already today, guys. Not a lot you can really do with the exhausts. Under here, you can barely even round this bulge under here. There's water right under there. Very thin. So I don't know if anyone makes an aftermarket casting for this that would make a huge difference. But it is turbocharged. We should be able to get quite a bit more out of it than stock. We'll hopefully initiate some swirl into it, which will add some torque. And we'll give it a try. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Have a good night.